Hello and welcome. Today we have another comparison video. We will take a look at two Omega Seamaster watches, the 300M coaxial chronometer and Aqua Terra master coaxial chronometer. Just like in previous comparison videos on this channel, it will not be about picking a winner, but it will be about showing these watches side by side, explaining similarities and differences, and maybe helping some people to choose which sporty Omega to buy. Next week I will be comparing the 300M to Rolex Submariner. You may subscribe if you don't want to miss that. Also, huge thanks to 300 people who have already subscribed. I greatly appreciate it. And now let's take a look at these two. The first and the most obvious difference is the styling. The Aqua Terra, I will just call it AT, is what we call a sports watch, so it is tough, robust, 150 meters water resistant, but at the same time it is also suitable for more serious occasions. 300M is a dedicated diving watch according to the ISO norm, which means that it also has a rotating bezel. This 300M is a version with black dial, and this particular AT is the Golf edition with specific white, or if you want, silver dial and a blue hands, but you can also get it in the black or blue dial version. Comparing the size, AT is 41.5mm wide and the 300M is 41mm wide. The AT wears and also looks a bit bigger, at least in my opinion, not necessarily because of that half millimeter, but because AT has more mass on the lugs compared to the concave shape of 300M's lugs. The thickness is very similar. 300M is 12.92 millimeters thick and the AT is 13.3 millimeters thick. So although that 300M is twice as water resistant as AT, the AT is a bit thicker because of the movement, we will get to that later, and also because of the transparent caseback that adds a bit to the thickness, but it also lets us see the beautifully finished movement. 300M has solid caseback with very nice deeply engraved seahorse. The lug width on both is 20mm, so it is not a problem to choose an aftermarket strap, should the owners wish to do so. Regarding the case finishing, that is Omega's very strong side. The finishing is beautiful on both, with signature polished curve on the lugs and brushing on the sides. Case finishing is definitely one of the highlights of both of these watches, and actually all of the Omega watches that I have seen so far. On 300M there is also 120 click unidirectional rotating bezel, which is probably the biggest difference in styling and also usability. It has ceramic insert and it looks beautiful in sunlight. I personally like having the rotating bezel, which is also why I like diving watches so much. And there is also a helium escape valve at 10 o'clock, which I will never use, but I think that it is cool to have that extra crown. Regarding the wearing comfort, both are very good. I actually don't mind the extra thickness of AT. It is well proportioned and it hides the thickness very well by using horizontal lines. On 300M the wearing comfort is great as well. The dials are very different. Obviously the color is different, but also the surface. On AT we have matte silver dial with vertical stripes. Those are supposed to remind us of teak floors on expensive luxury yachts. And on 300M there is gloss lacquer dial, and I really like this dial. It reflects the light beautifully. It is certainly one of my most favorite things about this watch. White dial on AT makes it appear a bit bigger than it actually is, which is probably a good thing. It also looks great in sunlight, and this particular version has contrasting chemically blued minute and hour ends and 18K gold second hand. I like this color combination. It is also very legible. Indices are applied, of course. A 300M has also applied indices and applied logo, which the AT doesn't, but the red printed logo looks very nice as well. 300M has typical skeletonized hands. Some people like them, some don't. I personally do like them. They are also filled with Luminova, blue and green. Indices are filled as well. On AT we also have Lume on hands and indices. The Lume is better on 300M because the surface is bigger, and the Submariner-like layout with green minute hand makes it very easy to locate 12 o'clock and tell the time quickly. Lume on AT is also strong, but surface is pretty small, and the 12-hour marker is unfortunately not distinguished from other markers. Moving on to the movements, we have fully in-house made 8500 master coaxial movement in AT, and in 300M we have let's say half in-house 2500D coaxial movement. Both these movements are 3.5 Hz, which is typical for coaxial movements, and since the caliber 2500 in this 300M is deer vision, they also share the same escapement. The advantages of 8500 over 2500 are longer power reserve at 60 hours. 2500 is supposed to have 48 hours of power reserve, but I have measured almost 54 hours. And 8500 also has independent hour end setting that makes it half a GMT movement, which is very convenient for traveling. Advantages of 2500 are that it is 1.4mm thinner than 8500, which makes 300M possible to be thinner than AT, even though that it is twice as water resistance. And even though crown operation on 8500 is really superb, on 2500 it is even smoother. Actually, the crown operation on 2500D is the smoothest that I've ever tested in terms of both winding and time setting. And finally, the bracelets. On 300M we have the signature 5-link design. It is a bit controversial part of this watch. I personally do like it. Finishing is great, wearing comfort as well. As I showed you in previous videos, I have swapped the clasp for the micro adjustable one from Seamaster 300 because the stock one can be adjusted only by removing links, which is not acceptable for me, and I'm very happy with both the bracelet and this clasp. I have no intention to put this watch on anything else. I like this as a whole package. As I said in the AT review, the bracelet on Aqua Terra is also very well made. Here it is much more classic design. Not to forget, both are held together by pins and screws that are crazy tightened from factory. Wearing comfort is also without complaints. The AT has the butterfly style clasp. And as I have also said in the review, I'm not a fan of butterfly clasps because they also can be adjusted only by removing links and half links, but it is also possible to swap the clasp or the Seamaster 300 clasp, but I'm still not sure what parts would be needed. To conclude this video, I want to say that I really like both of these watches. Both are tough. For my purposes, water resistance is more than sufficient even on AT. Actually, both are very versatile in my opinion, thanks to Mr. James Bond. It is now alright to wear 300M even with black tie. Biggest difference is probably that 300M has a rotating bezel. Regarding the movements, 8500 is beautifully finished. It is fully in-house, a great movement overall, but I'm also a big fan of 2500D because of the thickness and crown operation, so I don't mind at all that it is not fully in-house made. And I actually think that these two watches in this particular dial versions would make a very decent two-piece collection if one wouldn't mind that they are made by the same brand. So one more time, big thanks to the owner of the AT who has borrowed me this watch for a review, and thank you for watching. I hope that you like this video. If you don't want to miss my future videos, please subscribe. I appreciate your feedback in form of thumbs up or thumbs down. If you want to ask anything or share your opinion, please do so in the comment section, and see you next time.